Hello guys, welcome to Leetcoding. In this video, we are going to see the Leetcode problem number 739 daily temperatures. Let's get into the problem. So, shit. So the problem statement is we are given an array of integers temperatures which represents the daily temperatures, and we need to return an array answer such that each index, that is each index of the answer is the number of days you have to wait after ith day to get a warmer temperature. So if there is no future day for which this is possible, keep answer of I as 0 instead. So yeah, this is all about our problem statement. Now let's get on to problem definition. So the first step before solving any problem is to define the problem clearly. So we'll define the problem here. So the input for this problem is an array which is named as temperatures. So we'll be given the array temperatures. So we need to return the output answer of the size temperature. Let's say the temperature array contains a size of n. So answer will also be containing. The size of the answer is also going to be n. So yeah, you'll be given an array of integers temperature which will be represent daily temperature. So this array is nothing but it will be representing. So let's consider each index as each day. So let's say 1 2. So index will be from 0 in Java. So we'll consider index plus 1 today. So it's nothing but the zeroth index will be representing the first day, first index will be representing second day, and it goes on. So this is the criteria we are going to use. So each day, the temperatures of each day is given in the input array. So what should be the output array? So we need to return an array answer such that each index of the answer is the number of days you have to wait after ith day to get a warmer temperature. So the answer, so let's say since we have for example we have considered 6 days, so we'll create a new array answer. It will have the same size of temperature. So 4 and 5. So there are 6 index present here. So what what should the so we should return the answer array. So what should the each index of the answer array contain? So each index of the answer array should contain the number of days you have to wait after the ith day to get a warmer temperature. So as we have the temperature values of each day given, so we need to find the number of days we need to wait in order to get a warmer temperature. So warmer temperature, so the number of days to wait to get a warmer temperature. So for each index, for each day we are going to find this value. So warmer temperature, so let's consider this as wt. Warmer temperature is nothing but a temperature greater than the current temperature. So warmer temperature of a day is the number of days uh, required to spend. So number of days we need to spend uh, to get a day. So ignore this. So warmer temperature of a day is nothing but number of days required to spend or wait in order to get or reach a day in which temperature is greater than the current day. So of of current day, let's say warmer temperature of current day is nothing but number of days we need to wait to get a day which is having temperature greater than the current day. So this is the required thing we need to find out. So what happens if a day doesn't have any warmer temperature? So if a day doesn't have warmer temperature, if no warmer temperature, wait days, let's say WTWD, is nothing but warmer temperature waiting days. So if there is no warmer temperature waiting day, there is no warmer temperature available, we'll mark the answer, that is the current day's warmer temperature. The answer is nothing but 0. So if we found if we are having the value of waiting days, we'll mark this. I mean, we'll insert the number of days not that we need to wait. If warmer day is not present for a particular day, we'll store the answer for the selected day as 0. So this is what mentioned in the question here. So that's it, and this is our problem definition. Now let's move on to approach. So second step is the approach. So let's consider the given example is temperature array. So this is the given temperature array. So how can we find the warmer temperature? So we need to firstly create a answer array. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. So n is 8 here. So we created an answer array of size n. So for each day, well, let's index them. So these are the index here. So for each day, we need to find the warmer temperature on the right side. So why we are finding in the right side? Because number of days we need to wait. So we if we are waiting in the first day, we can only reach the day on the right, so we cannot reach the day past. So only future days are going to be counted. So each day we need to find the uh, greater, that is next greater temperature day. So this is the condition. So this is all about the condition. So uh, the we can find this out by using time complexity of big of n square. That is, for each index we'll move on and iterate using another for loop and find out whether warmer day is present or not. If the warmer day is present, this the least, that is the most nearest warmer day is noted, and the value is stored. So number of days to be waited is stored here. So this will take a time complexity of big of n square. So can we minimize this time complexity? The answer is yes. So how can we minimize? So what we are going to so we are now clear that we need to find the number of, that is the nearest warmer temperature day. So when we find this nearest warmest temperature day, we can find the number of days to wait. So first we'll find this out. So how can we find this? So initially we'll consider the current day, and we'll store this. So initially the first day is 73, right? So we'll check for the previous days. So the first day doesn't have any previous days. So we can use a stack. So why we are using stack? So stack will help us to find out the previous results. So help to keep track of the previous results. So we are going to use the stack. So we are storing the value of the day in the stack. So why we are storing in the stack is nothing but because uh, in we are going to iterate over each day and check for the previous days. So we need when we move on to next day, we need the previous days, right? So in order to keep track of the previous days, we are using a stack. So we'll push out push into the stack. That is, the first day will be pushed into the stack. So now we'll move on. So first day is over. So let's say we'll ignore this example. Now we'll give some other intuition. So first day will be pushed in. So first day is pushed in. Now we'll move on to second day. So in the second day, what we'll do is we'll check for the previous days. So the previous days can be found in the stack. So we don't need to find in the array. We'll go to stack. So we'll pop out the elements and pop out the each day and mark the day count as wait day, will evaluate the wait days. So wait day count. So if the current day's temperature is greater than the previous day temperature, we'll mark the number of days to be waited as the current day. So we'll reduce the day. So we are checking with when we go to move on to day 2. So if the day 2 has temperature greater than the day 1, that is which is present in the day which is present in the top of the stack, what we'll do is we'll just pop this out and in answer array we'll subtract the current day from the pop day. So it will be 1. So we need to wait 1 day. So this is the first scenario. If the current day is so we'll iterate over each day. So we'll continue to pop all elements, all days, all the previous days for each element. So the while loop will stop. That is the checking will stop once the previous days are completely empty, or the current day temperature is less than the previous day temperature. So in this case, we'll stop the iteration and push the current day into the stack. So after the checking process ends, we'll push the current day into the stack. So the same operation will be continuing on the each index, that is each day. So finally, we'll be able to get the answer array filled up. So the when finally we'll get a empty or non-empty stack, so we don't need to bother about the days. So the final, after iterating over each day, the final stack we get will be the days which doesn't have warmer temperature in the future. So these will be present. So default Java array will be storing the value 0. So we don't need to bother about these values. So we'll stop the I mean what to say, we'll stop the iteration and we'll just return the answer array. So we don't need to bother about these days. So this is our approach. So we'll check this approach with the uh, chosen test case. So initially we'll have a stack. So we are moving on to first day, which is 73. So let's days them 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we are going to first day. So first day is 73. So we don't have any previous days. So we'll put the index here. So index is 0. That is the first day index will be 0. Now we are moving on to the next day. We are going to check over the previous days. So the previous day's index is 0, so we'll go on fetch the value of the temperature on the previous day. That is temperature of 0, so 0th index. So we can clearly see that current day is greater than the temperature is greater than the previous day. So we'll subtract the value. So index will be 1, so 1 subtracted by 0 is nothing but 1. So we'll fill up the initial values. So while you create the answer array, the values will be 0. That is each cell will be initialized with the value of 0. So now after the this, so we'll pop this, right. So we'll check whether so we have completely checked our previous days with the current day. So we'll push the current index, which is 1, into the stack. Now we'll move on to next day. So next day, the first step, we'll iterate over each day and we'll check for the previous days. This is the first step. Check the previous days. So this is the first step. And finally, push current day. So these are the two steps we are going to follow. So if we are now in the index 2, so we are checking for the previous day. So previous day index is 1. So the value, that is the temperature of the first index day is 74, which is less than the current day. So we'll update the value, that is 2 minus 1, which is 1. So we need to wait for 1 day. So this will be popped, right. So we have met the end condition. So there is no previous days present here. So we'll push the current element, which is 2. So current index is 2. So we'll push the 2 here. Now we'll move on to next index, which is 3. So the we'll check the first step. When we move on to next is we check the previous days. So previous days index is 2. So second index, the temperature of the second index, which is third day, is greater than the current day. So we'll stop the iteration, and after that we'll be pushing the current day into the stack. So index 4 will be pushed. So sorry, index 3. Index 3 will be pushed into the stack. Now we'll move on to next index, which is 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So fourth index. So we'll check for the previous day indices. So the index 3, uh, we can clearly see that 31. And the previous day's value, that is the temperature, is greater than the current day. And current day is having a temperature less than the previous day. So we'll stop the checking process and we'll push on the current day into the stack, that is index 4. Now we'll move on to next index, which is 5. So we'll check for the previous days. So we can clearly see that the current day's temperature is greater than the previous day's temperature, that is the value at 4. So we'll subtract the index. So 5 minus 4 will be resulting 1. So we'll store 1 in the index. So the index which you have pulled. Now we'll move on to so we haven't stopped the process. So we'll continue to check for the previous days. So the third index has value 71. So the temperature at fourth day is 71, which is less than the current day temperature, that is 5. So we'll update the index. So 5 minus 3 is nothing but 2. We'll store the 2 in the third index. Now we'll again check with the previous day, which is third index. That is the second index. So second index has temperature 75, which is greater than the current day. So we'll stop the checking process and push the current day into the stack. So current day is 5. So current day index is pushed. So we move on to next index, which is 6. So we are going to check the first step. So first step is checking. So we'll go on to fifth index. So 15th index has temperature value less than the current day 76. So we'll update the firstly we'll pop the element and update the element. So the element, that is the day, number of days to wait will be 6 minus 5, which is 1. Now we'll check with the previous day, that is index 2. So index 2 has value 75. So current day's temperature is greater than some previous day, that is index 2. So we'll pop this element and update the answer. So 6 minus 2, that is popped minus 2. So that is 4, which will be storing in the popped index. So 4 will be stored here. And we have reached the, we have no previous days left to ever compute. So we will stop the checking process, and the next step is pushing the current day into the stack. So we'll push the current index 6 into the stack. Now we'll move on to next day, which is 7th index. So we are checking with the previous days. So the current day value is the temperature value is less than the previous day value. So we don't need that is we cannot pop this element. So we'll stop the checking process. Now we'll push the current day into the stack. So index 7 will be pushed into the stack. Now we need to move on to next day. So we can clearly see that we have completely iterated over each day. Now we can guaranteedly say that we have completed the answer array. Now we can return the answer array. So this is all about our approach, and this is the steps. So this is the steps to be followed in this approach. So steps is nothing but iterate each day, check previous days, and update answer, and push the current day. So this is all about a steps to be followed, and the time complexity for this approach is big of n, since we just use one for loop to iterate over each temperatures, and the space complexity is big of 1n, since we use an extra space of stack of size stack may be of size n, and also we use answer array which is 100 of size n. So this is all about our approach and steps and the time complexity of our algorithm, time and space complexity of our algorithm, and let's get on to the coding session, so that you'll get the clear idea of how to implement these steps. So let's move on. So the first step is to create the answer array. So before that, we'll store the number of days in values in n. So number of days will be the temperatures dot n. So given array's length will be number of days. So we'll create an answer array of size n. So we are going to create a stack of integer. So the stack will be containing previous days indices. So previous day indices. So we have named the stack as previous day indices. So now we are going to iterate over each day. This is the first step of our approach. So I less than n, I plus plus. So first this for loop will help us to iterate over each day. So now we are going to get the current day temperature. So current temperature. So say current day temperature, nothing but temperatures of fire. So the first step to do is the checking operation. So check operation involves checking the previous days, right? So we'll see whether the previous day indices are empty or not. If it is empty, we'll stop the checking process. So if previous day indices dot is empty. So if the previous day indices empty will stop the checking process, or if the current day temperature is greater. So if previously, that is, if the stack has at least one element, will get into the loop, it will be returning true. And if the current day temperature is greater than the previous day temperature is nothing but temperature of previous day indices a peak. So in the while loop, what we are going to do is we are going to update the answer value. So the previous index is nothing but uh, previous day indices dot peak. That is pop. We'll pop it out since we don't need it in the future. So now we are going to update the answer value. So answer of previous index is nothing but current index. So current day minus previous day, which is previous index. So after this while loop is ended, what we'll do is push operator, push the current day. So push the current day. So previous day indices dot push. So we're pushing the current day, and finally we can return the answer. So initially we have stored the temperature, that is the number of days, in n variable, and we are getting an answer array with size of n, and we are getting a stack to store the previous days which do not have uh, warmer day. So we are going to iterate over each day, and we are going to take the current day temperature, that is the, yeah, we are going to take the current day temperature, and the first step is we are checking with the previous days. So how we are checking with the previous days? So if the current day temperature is greater than the previous day temperature, we need to update the answer, right? So we have done this here, and after the checking process ends, we are going to push the current day into the stack. So this process, the after iterating over each day, the process is complete. So now I'll, after this we'll return the answer array. So let's check this up. It's working fine. So now let's submit it up. Accepted. And as I have discussed, the time complexity and space complexity are big of n, and the approach I have used for this problem is stack. So that's all about this problem, guys. Thanks for watching this video, and have a great time.